So we made good progress in part one with this component of the object. But what would happen if we added a subdivision modifier to this? Let's do that now and see what the result is. So I'm just going to quickly add it through my add-on there. So I'm going to add 2 levels of subdivision and click add. And this is the result. Let's turn off the wireframe overlay. Let's select the object, right click and shade smooth. That doesn't look too bad. Looks well formed there. We've got some issues here. We need to add some more support loops by the look of it. This part here, or this crevice and this one here, should be the same curvature. My bad initially when I added this loop cut into this part here, they should be the same width, essentially. Let's quickly fix that. Go into edit mode and edge selection. I'm going to select this edge loop and this one here and dissolve them by pressing Ctrl Delete. So if we now do Ctrl R to add loop cuts, I'm going to keep scrolling my mouse wheel until we get something like that. And then we can select all of these. I might just keep the one here actually. And we can dissolve these ones with, again, Ctrl Delete. The reason I'm keeping these, and I've just deleted that, haven't I? The reason I'm keeping these ones here, keeping 2, is so that this one can be more of a support loop as a subdivision modifier. Does its thing here. It doesn't bend all the way into that area. So hopefully that will just make it a little bit easier to control that. Having a loop cut there, so that's cool. And while I'm at it, I might as well put a loop cut in the middle. Let's go to top view. You can see it's a bit janky. Let's sort that out in edit mode. We're still in edit mode actually. Let's select these vertices, which they're already selected. And we can press S for scale, X on the X axis, 0, enter. If I go to the top view, you can see that's slightly off the center. In fact, we don't have a straight edge at this top here. So something's gone slightly awry there. So let's fix that as well. Go to wireframe mode, and I'll make sure that we select all of these top edges just there. Or top vertices, I should say. Like so. And you want to scale these on the Y now. So S, Y, 0, enter. You can see that made a bit of a difference there. Absolutely made a difference. So that's pretty cool. I'm actually going to move these so it's in line with that one there. So I'm going to click on this arrow here, hold down Control and snap it to there. That's nice and straight now. So this boundary here, this inner loop that inset we created earlier is a little bit off. Doesn't make a huge difference, but I'm going to move it up just a tad. For these ones here, I'm going to do the same and snap it to that one there. That's nicer. Oh, let's put these in the middle now because they're off center. And we can check that by using this item menu on the side by pressing the N key. We can see there it's set to local at the moment, but I want this to be on the global. It probably shouldn't make a difference, but I'm going to try entering 0 here. And it went all the way over there. It's not what we want. So I'd switch it to global, and that will change that to 0. And now it's in the center of our world. That's the global setting essentially. Let's put that back to local for now. That's nice and tidy. Let's go to solid mode. Let's turn back on our subdivision modifier. Turn off the wireframe overlay. Again, that's in this menu here. Now we've got an issue here on this corner. Whilst that looks nice and smooth, that shouldn't be rounded like that. And by the way, I quickly lowered the position of the reference image so it's below the object rather than clipping through it. It's a minor thing I wanted to mention. Right, let's fix this corner here. Let's tab into edit mode. And the reason it's doing that is because subdivision is taking this curve, these points here, and blending between them like that. So we just need to smooth, put some edge loops here in some fashion, probably like this, and that will control that subdivision in that area. Let's do that. Let's bring this area into focus, select those, and press the period key on the numpad, bring it into focus. And Ideally, we want to have a cut straight down here rather than having this going to a point there. So now we don't need this edge here. So press 2 on the keyboard, select the edge, and Control-Delete will dissolve it. Very nice. Let's go back to our modifier, Enable Subdivision Surface. Now you can see we've got a really nice clean corner there. We still need some support loops, and not just here, but we also need them. If I switch to the front view, it's better on this side actually, you can see this part here really going into this subdivisions really flowing in about this far actually, going way too far. That's because we're missing support loops here. If I turn that off, you can see we had one. Let's switch to edit mode. This edge loop here is a nice support loop here on the top, but we don't have the equivalent one on the side. The one you're seeing here is the one we made earlier to fix this gap that we had there. So we could shift all this up to about there, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to, in fact, I might as well lower this a little bit more, make a bit more space for ourselves. I'm going to press the C key for brush selection. Make sure I'm in face mode. Just select these faces there, and then right click to come out of that, and then Control plus on the numpad to grow the selection. Now we've got that selected. I'm going to move these down, give ourselves a bit more space in that crevice there. Something like that maybe. Of course, that means our edge now here is not flush with that surface. So what we're going to do is bring that down. I mean, you can see we've got all of that selected by pressing down Alt and clicking it. And I'm going to snap it again to this vertex just there. Let's bring that into view. Click on the blue arrow, hold down Control, snap it to that vertex, maybe that one there. And that hasn't quite worked, has it? Because I've got this selected as well, which is absolutely wrong. Let's deselect these two edges there and do that again, like that. Cool. So let's think about how we can add an edge loop here. And we've got these corners here as well. So we could do the same as we did earlier. And this corner as well, actually, we did over here. So I'll quickly do that on the other side, and I'll probably do a jump cut here. We'll see. Looking good. Right, let's switch to edge mode. Select this one, hold down Shift, select these, and Control Delete to dissolve them. We need to add a loop cut into this zone as well. Just also add one here. So Control R, click and drag that up to about there. And I think that should be it. Let's turn on our subdivision modifier, and sure enough, that's done. So with that done, let's also check the recessed area here, because that also needs a support loop. You can see there on the inside walls, we need one just at the bottom and one near the top. Rather than doing one loop cut and putting it here and doing another one, trying to get it to match the same gap size, it's a bit OCD, but what you can do is Control R, scroll your mouse wheel, so you get a few of these loop cuts. Just click and right click to leave them in place. Then deselect, Shift Alt, deselect the two that you want to keep and dissolve the remainder. Now we've got these perfectly spaced out loop cuts. Go back to object mode, turn our subdiv on, and that's awesome. So let's create this this piece here. What I'm going to do is tab into, don't really need to tab into edit mode, but I'm going to select this vertex just there in the middle. And I'm going to do Shift S, cursor to selected. Let's go back to object mode. That places our cursor directly in that position there. And now we can add a cylinder or circle. I'm going to add a cylinder, why not? And here it is. We want 32 vertices, because that's what we started off initially in that circle there. Let's leave it like that, and let's move this up. The reason I'm doing that is if I tab into edit mode, I'm going to select this bottom face and delete it. We don't need to see that. And let's put that back in place now. So we've got vertex snapping on. And for this demonstration, I'm going to turn off subdiv. Select this object, click the blue arrow, press Ctrl and snap it to a vertex there on that grid. That should be nicely aligned with the bottom of that recessed area there. Which it is, nice. So let's go to the top view and see if that needs to be a little bit larger. You can see it probably does need to be a little bit larger. So what I'm going to do is tab into edit mode, 3 on the keyboard for face select, just A to select everything. And I'm going to scale this, but only on the X and the Y axis. But in order to do that, if I press scale at the moment, it's going to scale it in all dimensions, right? All axes. I just want to scale it on the X and the Y. I'm going to switch to the top view and press S for scale and then Shift Z. That will exclude the Z axis. Let's bring that close to the edge. Something like that. There's a bit of a small gap there. You could make it larger if you want. That's cool. Let's pick the top face and bring it down just above the object there. We want to bring that down. But we don't need to bring this down. We can just literally add, with Control R, add a loop cut and just bring it up. We can see it about there. And we can use the control and snapping again. Snap to the height of that area here. That's where our chamfer ends, which means the top face can be scaled in now. Let's go to the front view. We can see the angle there. Let's make that a little bit more like 45 degrees. Maybe bring that up a touch and scale it in a bit. There's our basic shape. That's all we need to do. So the only thing we need to do now, in terms of the basic shape that's done, let's add another subdivision modifier, 2 levels like this one. And you can see immediately we've got some issues. Turn off the wireframe. But first of all, let's right click and do shade smooth. Now we need some support loops. Let's tab into edit mode and switch over to edge selection by pressing 2 on the keyboard. In fact, let's just quickly add an inset onto the top face. So select the top face and press I, add an inset and just give it an inset about there. Let's delete that face now. You don't have to add a grid fill here, but I'm going to do that anyway. So selecting this edge loop, we've got a hole there now, remember. Go up to the face menu and select grid fill. Like before, I'm going to the top view and I want these lines to be aligned vertically and horizontally. So I'm going to click the offset and boom, there we go. Got a nice flat grid pattern there. Let's alt click this edge loop, alt click this one. This is a technique I should probably seen me do a million times before. Create a bevel, Control B. Well, not just any bevel, let's do that. Maybe something like this. And then it's really important you change the shape to 1. Essentially that keeps the original curves we selected intact. It doesn't round this off like it would do, like this. You can see what's happening there. Keep the shape to 1, segments 2. We go back to object mode, you can see that's looking nice and sharp. Nice bit of hard surface modeling there. Technique. I'm going to go to the top view, turn on X-ray up in the top right there. You can see we have this hole in the middle there. So with that object selected, let's tab into edit mode again. And let's select You can see I made a mistake here because I could have selected, but no, I could have just created another inset with this large face there before, but obviously did this differently. So I'm going to select these 4 faces here, and we're going to create an inset from this, like that. Maybe about there. Let's see how that goes. And we can use loop tools. Let's turn off X-ray. We can use loop tools to make that into a circle. So I'm going to deselect these. Oops. We only want the outer edges, like that. And then we can do right click, loop tools, and circle. Go to the top view. Now we have this circle there. Let's turn X-ray on. You can see that's roughly the size. If I press S for scale, you can see that's the size of that hole just there. While we're at it, let's just select these vertices here, like that. So bring that out, something like that. Good. Maybe these ones can be a little bit larger. That would do. Press 3 on the keyboard, turn X-ray off. Let's select these faces here. In fact, I'm going to scale them up just a touch. And then create an inset. The reason I'm doing that is that these will become the support loops around that hole. This is a good thing to do. So let's do E to extrude. Let's turn off subdivision so you can see what we're doing. There's our extrusion. Let's bring it up just a touch, like that. But let's just do it manually because it's quite small, like that. Now we can do extrude again, bring it down somewhere there, like so. And now we can press S for scale to give it that slight angle. And in fact, I probably shouldn't have put this edge loop in there because that's going straight down and then down this way. Let's dissolve that first. So dissolve that with Control Delete. Let's get the angle first and then add the loop cut. So now we can do Control R. Let's just make sure our angle is nice. Yeah, happy with that. So Control R and add a loop cut somewhere there. Now we can select face selections and select these. Press I to inset and give that a bit of support, a support loop just there. And with Control R, we'll add one just there as well. Let's turn on our subdiv. And there you have it. Nice hole in the center of that as well. Right, let's turn off the subdiv modifier here. Let's turn on wireframe so we can see what we're doing. Let's go to the top view. Now we want our screw head to be somewhere around here, like so. So yeah, it's about there. However, we don't really have the topology to do that the way this is actually cut at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to destroy what we've got here a little bit and keep this one actually. Let's select this edge here and this one and press Control Delete to dissolve them. And I'm going to do Control R, add a loop cut here and hold down the Control key and snap it, that vertex just there, like that. Now if I press 1 on the keyboard, select these 2 vertices and press J to join. Now we can select this one and press J to join. And we have an engon here. Yeah, I just had these inset there. So that's essentially what we need to do to make that hole there. With the top view, what I did clearly was select all of these faces here. Perhaps these ones, maybe even these ones. And then I probably pressed I to inset. Let's select these 2. In fact, we can select all of these faces and delete them. This will be the hole for the screw area. Let's delete these faces, and now we have a hole there. And this looks broken, but it's not. Trust me, it's fine. Let's go to edge selection, Alt down, Alt click this edge loop there. Once again, we're going to go to the top view, right click and do circle with loop tools. So you can see it's slightly twisted. But from the top view, press R to rotate. And it's never going to be perfect, this bit. If you align it up there, it's going to be more twisted down here. but it's not an issue. Nothing to worry about there. Let's make the hole a little bit smaller. Something like that. I think that's fine. The reason I'm keeping it this large so that I can do E to extrude, S for scale, and essentially we're creating an inset there. That would become a support loop again. Support zone around here. You can see by doing this technique, we've lost or got rid of that engon, which is cool. We've all got quads again. That's really nice. That's probably still too large. Let's grow a selection with Control Numpad Plus. And top view, I'm just going to press scale. Let's make sure we have medium point there. Oops, top view. Let's press S to scale. That's about right, I think. Let's select this edge loop because I scaled it down and bring it out a little bit more like that. Nice. While we're at it, let's space these out as well. Now we've got this detail here. We want to try and evenly distribute these vertices as best we can. So let's do it manually as well. You can just select it and move it along. I'm going to select these three, right click, loop tools and space. Do the same for these. Do that one there and we'll call that a day there. Like that. Bit wonky, but hey, it's okay. Maybe we can space these out as well along here. Let's try that. That's not too bad, which means we can select this one here and hold down Control, click this one, turn off our mirror modifier. We can just bring these into line with snapping it there. Let's do the same for these. Now we've got evenly spaced geometry around there. So we turn back our subdivision modifier. You can see there, let's turn off optimal display to see the actual geometry that we're getting. That's looking good. Make sure you save your work and let's tab into edit mode. Turn off the subdiv modifier. Maybe this is still too big, perhaps. What do you think? Is it too big? Have a look. Yeah, probably a little bit too big. Let's scale that in like that. Select this one as well and scale that in just a smidge. Now alt click this edge loop there and let's press F to fill, E to extrude and bring that down about there. Maybe there. No. And with that done, select that again, press I to insert. Actually, no, don't have to do that. Let's go to edge mode, select this edge loop, which we already have selected, and press Control B to bevel. And you can see there, we've got two segments, shape of 1. Let's make that quite tight there in that corner. Let's add a loop cut with Control R at the top. Something like that. Make that perhaps a little bit tighter than what it currently is. Like that. Now we can select this face. Let's delete that. Alt click this edge loop, go to face menu, grid fill. And that didn't work. So why is that? Why didn't that work? Well, let's go to the top view for a second. Let's try that again. Face, grid fill. And it says here at the doesn't really give you good reason why that's not working. Let's turn on face orientation. That wasn't the reason why that's not working. So what I'm going to do is select everything here, or in this region anyway. Use our brush tool to select these. Already selected. I'm going to do a merge by distance. And it's removed 0 vertices. Okay, let's go back to edge mode. Select this. Let's try that again. Face grid fill. That's really weird. That's not working. But I'm not too worried about it. Let's press the F key to fill it like this. How many vertices do we have there actually? Let's turn on statistics, which is here somewhere. Where's statistics gone? There we go. Right, and I suspect it's because we have 15 vertices, and you cannot create a grid from 15 vertices. Interesting. We select this face and do poke. You get triangles, and that's absolutely fine. What we can do with that from now is select every other edge like this. We're going to have a problem here. We can dissolve these. These are now quads. This one here is an n-gon. I'll delete all of these and make a 16-sided. It would actually be quite quick to do that. If I select all of these faces like that, we can quite simply select an edge and do subdivide, and that will add another vertex. Now we've got 16 vertices. Yay! But it's not a circle, right? So we can do loop tools, space them out like that. Loop tools again, circle. Now we've got a circle. With that done, let's press E to extrude, S for scale, and bring that in like that. Let's save that, turn on our subdiv modifier. And look at that, we've got a lovely circular hole for our screw to go into. Cool, that's looking rather nice. Turn on the mirror modifier as well. All that's left to do now is the notch that goes into this part here, like so. Then on the other side as well. Let's work on this area here now, and this also, you don't have to do this again, only because we're going to add a screw here, a screw head. I want the screw head to look as though it's going into the object itself. There needs to be a hole there. We can do the same thing as we did up here, but a better way, hopefully better than I did last time. So let's see how many vertices we have along here. I'll select these with the C brush, selection brush by pressing C. Select these vertices, and I'll see how many vertices we have there. We've got 20, which is cool. Select that point there, that vertex. Go to top view. And what happens if we delete this? Obviously it's going to be a hole left behind. Let's turn off our subdiv modifier and our mirror modifier. Now we've got a hole there. What I'm going to do is select this vertex and that vertex and Shift S in the cursor to select it. That will place it roughly in the middle. And by doing that, we can do go to the top view, zoom out a little bit. I'm going to add a circle. Obviously do that with Shift A as well, rather than using my, my add-on. So there's our circle, it's huge. But I only want 10 sides to this. I'm going to change the vert count to 10. Let's click on the radius and bring that way down. Just so we've got it in view there. Right, there we go, that's good enough. Go to the top view and let's scale that out a little bit. And just to, if you haven't noticed, I'm doing this in edit mode, not object mode. That circle is now part of that object, you can see. Let's select this vertex and move it out of the way, just for now. Bring it about there. I'm going to switch to edge selection. Select this edge and this one and press F, create a face. Select this edge, press F, create a face there. Let's do that for here as well. And here. And there again. Now we're going to have more vertices here than we have here. Let's just see how we go if we select these vertices here, sorry, edges, and then these ones here. Hold down Control, click there, and press F to fill. Then we've got a large n-gon here. Let's use our vertex selection. So let's see if we can break this up. Start by putting a connection there. And a connection here. Let's do the same on the other side. Now we've got to figure out where to put our quads and such. Let's put one here. Like that. And we could put one here as well. Okay. Do that on this side as well. I just thought we could do one here like this and then dissolve this edge. Make a quad here. And then that would leave a triangle there. Again, triangles are not a problem really. However, if we did this and selected this edge and dissolved it, we now have quads along here. So we can mirror this on the other side. So let's make a quad here by connecting these two verts, selecting this edge and Control Delete. So you can see there we've gone from 20 vertices or however many there are there, just to what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or something. So that's a nice way of doing that. That works well. And we're going to select this edge loop with Alt click, E to extrude, and then S for scale, and bring that in to create support loop. Something like that. In fact, while I'm here, I think I'm going to bring down. No, we'll leave that as is. Yes, I was going to tweak these, but they're fine as they are. Right. Let's E to extrude, Z, constrain it up to the Z axis and bring that down. Something like that. And for the sake of completeness, I might as well close this hole there. I press F to fill, and then Control B to bevel. Give that a loop, support loops, and Control R, add one at the top there, and select this face. And how many vertices do we have here? We've got 10, of course, because the circle we made earlier. I'm going to select this face and delete it. And edge loop, select this one, face grid fill. I doubt we're going to get a, there we go, we've got a straight cut there. That's a neat way of doing that. Go back to object mode, subdiv on. We have a lovely recessed hole. Let's put our world cursor back to world origin by Shift S, cursor to world origin. That's looking really nice. Shading wise, we can just test that by switching over to Matcap, excuse me, and selecting this red. You've seen this a million times elsewhere probably, the red metallic car paint thing. And with that, if you just orbit around your object and the highlight is what you're looking at here, if that distorts in a weird way, you know you've got some shading issues or normal issues or whatnot happening with your model. So you can see there we've got some really nice highlights across the surface. Nothing really stands out as being wrong or janky. That's really cool. Right, let's switch back over to Studio. Turn on our reference image. And I think I'll leave it there for this part. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.